Hi guys, and welcome to Escape with Watch Reviews. My name is Steve, and today we're going to be reviewing the San Martin SN0007-B. So I purchased this watch during one of the sales for $138 US. Either way, no matter how I get a watch, whether I get it for free or whether I pay for it, I'm going to give you my honest opinion every single time. And if by the end of this review you do want to pick one of these up, I'll be leaving a link down in the video description. That is to the store that I purchased it from. That is an affiliate link, so if you use that link, you're not going to pay any extra. It'll just earn the channel a little bit of commission, and it'll help keep things running. The full retail price for this watch is $166 US on the bracelet, or 157-ish on a rubber strap. Like I mentioned, I did get this slightly cheaper, but really the discounts were pretty minimal on this watch up until I picked it up and found it for this. That was the price with coins and all that stuff too. So yeah, you only get about $10 off on this watch usually. The watch does come in 3 different colorways that you can see here. There's green and the blue. They are a flat enamel dial, and the gray has a nice sunburst effect to it. And like I also mentioned before, you can get it on the stainless steel bracelet or on a rubber strap. The watch case is made of 316L stainless steel. It has a sapphire crystal, a ceramic bezel insert, screw down crown, screw down case back, 200 meters of claimed water resistance. You have Swiss Superluminova on the dial and the hands, and the watch is powered by the Seiko NH35 automatic movement. So this is part of San Martin's budget line. So what you're getting here is the San Martin quality with a couple little nuances that aren't quite up to standard with their higher end stuff, but still you're getting a heck of a watch. And like my thumbnail says, I think this is one of the best, if not the best diver under $150 US. And I'm here to show you guys why. So I say we get right into the full review, but before we do a quick wrist check today, wearing my Hamilton Khaki Field limited edition Nano Universe. Not sure I will ever do a review on this thing for you guys, but yeah, it's just a pretty cool limited edition khaki field. All right, let's get into dimensions. We have a bezel diameter of 40 millimeters, case thickness of 13.1, 20 millimeter lug width, lug tip to lug tip of 47.8 millimeters, end link to end link of 50.7 millimeters. And on the metal bracelet with 0 links removed, it weighs about 166 grams. So I think the size on this thing is pretty nice, 40 millimeters, 47 lug to lug. It's got nice turn down to the lugs as well. It's a pretty chunky watch, heavy watch. A lot of that is in the bracelet. It is a big chunky bracelet that only tapers to 18 millimeters. But despite all that, and despite the male end links, I think this thing wears pretty darn good. So I'm going to go outside right now, throw it on my wrist for you. And here we are on my 7.5 inch wrist, and as you can see, it wears great. You got nice turn down to those lugs as well. Hopefully that's in focus for you guys. I mean, it wears really good. It's a hefty and chunky watch, but it feels very balanced on the wrist, and it just, I mean, it looks awesome. Plenty of air coating on that crystal too, which we'll talk about here in a little bit, but underneath this oak tree, which usually gives watches problems, not an issue with this one. Very legible. And popping out in some direct sunlight there, you can really see that blue dial. It's absolutely gorgeous. I love the shade of blue that they chose. Again, plenty of air coating on it. You got lots of light play off of that dial though. Looks beautiful. All right, let's go throw this on some straps and let's get back to this review. And here we are on kind of a teal or cyan colored FKM strap. Yeah, I think it looks pretty good. A little bit of a pop of color on this one. You can have some fun with this watch as far as the colors go. Super comfortable. I'll leave the link down below for these. And here we are, just a simple, smooth FKM cut to size strap. You can't go wrong with this. I think it looks great. Super comfortable. And here we are, another petrol blue color. This is just a single pass, so you can see one layer is underneath the watch there. It still sits very nice, so yeah, just lightweight and comfortable. And lastly, here we are. This is a Cincy Strapco SF2 nylon strap, and there's 2 layers underneath the watch there. And yeah, I mean, it still wears very nice and very comfortable. I love these straps. These are awesome. Also, I'll leave the link for these down below. But yeah, they're just great. They're super thin too, which helps. So yeah, what do you guys think of that? All right, let's go back inside and let's get back to this review. So talking about the case finishing, we have a mixture of brushed and polished surfaces, and as always with San Martin, you're getting a really nice case finishing. So on the top of the lugs here, or top of the case, I guess, you have a circular brushing. It is really nicely done. Fairly coarse, I would say, but standard for a watch like this. But yeah, really nicely done, nice and consistent. They always do a very good job with their case finishing. This is no exception. You have high polished sides, as you can see here. Nice sharp transitions as well. Polishing on the ends of the lug tips there. But yeah, they just do a good job, and they don't really skimp on that part when it comes to these budget watches. Their finishing is just as good as the higher end stuff. So I'm pretty happy with it. Flipping it over to the case back here. You have a circular brushed case back, simple notches to get a tool in there. There's no signage here or anything like that, but I have no issue with that at all. Circular brushing on the bottom of the lugs. This bottom edge of the case is pretty sharp, I will say, but really doesn't come in contact too much with your wrist, so it is a very comfortable watch to wear. I've had no issues with it long term, so yeah, I'm pretty happy with the case back on this thing. There's no sharp edges on that either. You do have a 7mm signed screw down crown, so they didn't drop that off to save some money. It's a nice big crown. Nice rounded edge on it here, so it doesn't feel harsh on the wrist or when you're manipulating the crown. So yeah, I'm really happy with the case finishing on this. I like the fact that they don't skimp on the case finishing on these budget models. Okay, so let's talk about the bezel on this thing. So the bezel insert is a ceramic bezel insert. You have nice engravings here for the markings. I will say this is one place where I don't know what's going on. I've seen this in other San Martin watches, but I did take this into some pools. I took it into the ocean. You can see I'm getting some flaking. That white stuff on the bezel, that is not the paint, but I am getting some flaking of these numerals. It's really an interesting, there you can see it pretty good on the 20 there. I believe the 40 also has it. No, maybe not. The 50 you can definitely see has it. So they got something going on there. It's not a huge deal, but it is something that I did notice. So I just wanted to bring that up to you guys. I think that's something that San Martin needs to address maybe. But I mean, I was pretty harsh on this thing, put it in a bunch of salt water, put it in a bunch of pool water with high chlorine. So I guess if you're just using this around normal water, it shouldn't be a problem. But yeah, it's just something that I've noticed and I experienced in this watch. A little bit disappointing in that. The bezel insert itself, though, it is pretty nicely done. You got nice deep engravings and all those numerals there. The only part that's loomed is the pip at the 12 o'clock position. Everything is aligned spot on there. The bezel itself, stainless steel, plenty of grip on that thing. It looks fantastic. It feels fantastic. And I'm going to let you listen to the bezel on this thing. This has got to be one of the best bezels that I've experienced, bar none. Just price, not even in consideration. This is right up there, probably like top 3 or 4. So really, really happy with the bezel on this thing. There you can see there's zero play in it. The resistance is just about perfect. The clicks are nice sounding. I'll let you listen to them here. So it is a really loud, high-pitched, but snappy and crisp sounding. They feel good as well. They look good. Like I said, it just locks right in place. It is an excellent bezel. The resistance is even all the way around. It is super loud though, so you're not going to be able to subtly change the bezel on this thing. So just something to note. But yeah, I mean, the bezel is just awesome. Really, I couldn't design a better bezel, I don't think. So yeah, really happy with the bezel on this thing. Yeah, let's talk about the crystal on this thing. Test it for sapphire. It is positive for sapphire. So we do have a sapphire crystal, which is nice, especially on a budget model. And it's got plenty of anti-reflective coating too, so even better. It's a really nice crystal. You can see here, there's no like blue hue to it. It's a clear anti-reflective coating, which is nice to see, but very nicely done. I do have a little spot on it there, but really nicely done. It is a double dome. As you can see, it's very subtle, but it is a double dome. It's almost a box dome as well. It's got a really tight radius here on the corners, but it is I guess, a box dome sapphire crystal. So they didn't skimp out and just use a flat sapphire crystal. They gave you a very nice kind of box dome sapphire. It looks excellent. Really, really happy with the crystal on this thing. I'm glad that they didn't skimp out on that either. All right, let's get to the dial. It is absolutely stunning. This is my favorite blue dial. The color that they chose is just excellent. It's kind of that steel, but like dusty bluish gray. It looks amazing. Looks really, really good. It's an enamel one, so it's a gloss finish on it. It just looks fantastic. They did a very nice job. My only real complaint about this dial is the lume, and not the strength of the lume, which you'll see here in just a little bit, but they use C3, and C3 just typically has a green hue to it. So this definitely has a green tone to it. I wish it was BGW9. That's my only real complaint about this thing. Other than that, I think they did an excellent job. You have the applied San Martin hex there, then simple automatic 200 meters at the 6 o'clock position, applied indices at all the hour markers. You get the nice big one here at 12 o'clock, slightly larger at 6 and 9, and then you have these kind of trapezoidal shaped ones, so they're not just rectangles, they kind of taper down towards the middle. As far as the lume goes, I think the outside is probably a rectangle, but the lume area, it does taper just a little bit. So just a small subtle detail, but you can see the finishing on these indices is just top notch. You also have a frame around the date window, which is nice to see as well. So it feels very balanced, and it just looks really good. The handset that they chose, again, super nice, fully polished handset, but nicely faceted. Big blocks of lume on the handset there. You have a lume pip there on the second hand sweeping around. So I think the handset size and length is just about spot on as well. So I'm really happy with the dial on the watch, and I'm even more happy with the lume on the watch. Besides the daytime color of this thing being a little too green for me, it looks absolutely incredible when you get this thing into a dark room. It just glows for days. So I'm going to pop up a lume shot here. You can see it against a Willard on the left, and then I'd say the king of my lume watches on the right, which is the Wise Adamascus. And this was somewhere in between those two watches. I give this a solid like 8.5 out of 10. The lume is super bright right off the bat. I can easily read this in the morning. So yeah, I mean, the lume on this watch is just killer. It's really, really good. And like I mentioned earlier, the movement powering this watch is the Seiko NH35 automatic movement. So 21,600 beats per hour, so 6 ticks of the second hand every second. It hacks, it hand winds. It has a bidirectional winding rotor. It does everything you need it to do. They are accurate and they are reliable. This is how this one has been running, so plus 7 seconds a day. I'm not going to complain about that, especially in a watch at this price point. That is, I'd say, about average, maybe a little bit better than average for a normal NH35. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with the accuracy on this thing. The movement has been awesome. It's going to be accurate and reliable for a very long time. The movement is operated by this 3 o'clock screw down signed crown. Really nice screw in and screw out action. Good size on the crown as well. Decent pop out from the NH35. First position is your hand winding. Second position is your date change. Everything functions as it should. Third position is where you hack the movement there. This is where you set the time. The alignment is spot on. Yeah, I mean, it just functions exactly like you would expect it to and want it to. So really happy with the movement on it. Screw in and screw out action is just really nice and smooth. I've got zero complaints with the movement in this thing. All right, so let's talk about the bracelet on it. So this is kind of where, you know, they can skimp a little bit. And they definitely did. So typically with a San Martin bracelet, you get screws for adjusting the size, and you also get an on-the-fly adjustable clasp. So that's 2 things right there that they cut out. So you are getting a pin and collar system, kind of a pain in the butt. I removed no links for my 7.5 inch wrist. So if you have bigger wrists, you might need to request some other links. I didn't, like I said, I didn't have to size this thing, so I'm not sure how tough those are. Usually pin and collar is a little bit more fiddly than split pins, a little bit more fiddly than screws. So you're going to have to fight with it, but thankfully it's only once and then you're done. So not a huge deal to me. They also say, the experts also say that the pin and collar is more fluid than the other style of bracelet or other style of locking. Whatever, I don't know for sure. The fluidity of this bracelet is excellent. You can see there. The bracelet itself, 20 millimeters, and it tapers down to 18 millimeters. So that's where some of the heft is coming from. They're nice and tight. There's not a whole lot of play in between the links or anything like that. So it's a very tight bracelet. I think it looks fantastic. It is very comfortable. This bottom edge is pretty soft too. You have male protruding end links. This first end link doesn't quite drop straight down, so that's another thing. So I guess the actual lug to lug is even more than the 51 that I quoted earlier, but it's down far enough that it shouldn't matter at all. But yeah, the end link fitment is really nicely done. You can see there, it just follows the case curvature perfectly. It's not a straight cut across. It kind of has this nice arc to it. So they did a good job. They fit in there nice and tight. You have excellent quality spring bars as well. Tolerances on the end links are excellent. When I take these bracelets off and then put them back on, they just snap right into place and they look perfect. So yeah, really happy with the tolerances across the board on this bracelet. It is very, very nicely done. The finishing is excellent as well. So you have a vertical brushing on the tops of the links there, as you can see. And again, really just high quality polishing on the sides. It just looks fantastic. They did a very nice job with the bracelet. The clasp itself, again, fully milled. You don't get a stamped outer shell like you do on some watches. You get 4 levels of micro adjust, so I was able to get a good fitment. You got nice rounded pushers here, just 2 pushers released there. You got the San Martin Hex logo. Everything is finished to perfection. Nice tight tolerances in the clasp here. It opens and closes exactly like you want it to. Again, there's no like on the fly adjustment system, but you get plenty of micro adjust there. So the fitment on this thing should be perfectly acceptable. Yeah, I mean, it's a really nice bracelet setup, especially for $150 US. You're probably not going to find a nicer one than that. It's very, very good. It just blows away my old Orient and SKXs, stuff like that. I mean, it's just not even close. So really happy with the bracelet on this thing. So there you go, guys. That is the San Martin SN0007-B. So B is for budget, I think. And this thing is just, it is awesome. $150, you're getting a very nice crystal, a beautiful dial, killer bezel action, extremely good lume, a accurate and reliable movement, a good solid bracelet as well. I mean, how can you really complain? When I complain about this watch, I'm just nitpicking stuff. The only thing that I would really change on this is to fix that bezel paint is a little interesting, and then put BGW9 on the dial in the hands, just so it's a more white lume instead of that kind of greenish hue to it. But other than that, I mean, this thing is fantastic. So good. Yeah, I'm not really sure what else to tell you guys. It's like I said in my thumbnail, I think it is the best $150 dive watch that you can get. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments. I think that's it for me. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. See ya.